we give a great big New York City welcome to the president of this club, Mr. Gavin Wax.
Well, I hope everybody at the New York Young Republicans Club is doing well and having a good time tonight. It's a very special group. Gavin Wax is incredible, and you have Nigel Farage speaking, and Corey Lewandowski and Steve Bannon. You can't do better than that. No matter where you go, you're not going to do better than those three. But I just want to congratulate you on the great success. Gavin has been amazing. He's an amazing leader. He's an amazing young guy with a big future. And it's really an honor to just be giving this little bit of a salutation. But I feel I have to do that because you've been so good to me. We had a big victory, a victory like I guess they said 129 years. It's the most consequential in 129 years. That's not bad. I wish it were a little bit longer than that, maybe 180, 190 years, but you can't win everything. But we'll take that. And I just want to say that I couldn't have done it without you. You did such an unbelievable job, long beyond New York. All over the country. The word got out what you were doing, and I appreciate it. So to Gavin and to everybody gathered, I wish you a lot of luck, a lot of good health, and we're going to have 4 tremendous years together. We're going to work very closely together, and we're going to have 4 great years. We're going to make America great again. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a little bit of a run of show issue, but it's great to be here tonight, and I'm honored to welcome all of our guests and dignitaries to our 112th annual Gala. And before I begin tonight's remarks, I just want to apologize. I've been fighting, trying to lose my voice. So if I do lose my voice through this speech, you could just cover your eyes and imagine you're hearing RFK Jr. give a speech about seed oils. But let's see if I can make it through. On a serious note, this year, Americans have faced a paradigm shift at the local, state, and federal levels. A recent story that weighed considerably on the hearts and minds of New Yorkers in particular is the trial of Mr. Daniel Penny, demonstrating the consequential nature of this societal transition. Daniel Penny received widespread praise from right-wing commentators and activists for subduing a violent delinquent on a crowded subway car. But just 4 years ago, even elected Republicans would have been haranguing pitifully about the plight of criminals, offering crocodile tears about so-called racial injustice, and throwing law enforcement under the bus, striving to placate low-grade quasi-socialists whom the post-Obama era's acolytes deemed the new American ruling class. But damn, thankfully, times have changed. On the right, all but the most pathetic figures now accept that Penny is in fact a hero. And even many Democrats in this very city now accept that Daniel Penny did the right thing. Because ordinary citizens must be ready to stand up for law and order to maintain a free society. And Daniel Penny became the folk hero that we need in a post-constitutional America besieged by existential internal threats. And Penny's example reminds us that we do not have to accept and live with the criminality, the degradation, the subversion, the depravity, and the evil in our society. Penny received about as fair of a trial as he could have gotten in New York City, even though the judge and the prosecutors, including that scumbag Alvin Bragg and his pathetic anti-American underling, colluded against him in a craven effort to destroy a young man's life for sins he could never own. But thankfully, the jury, a Manhattan jury, thankfully did not buy their nonsense. 4 years ago, standing up to this sort of ideology would have been unthinkable, but something has changed. And to that end, I want to give a special shout out to club member, Mr. Thomas Kniff, Daniel Penny's lawyer, who is with us tonight. He's a fantastic man, a veteran, a Marine, and we are honored to have him as a member of our organization. And we initially supported him in his run for the Manhattan District Attorney race against the aforementioned scumbag Alvin Bragg. But I want to make it clear that this club was one of the first organizations to both donate our financial resources and to fundraise for Daniel Penny's legal defense. And we did not waver in our unequivocal support for him, despite many other Republican groups in this city and state staying on the sidelines and hedging their bets. But now it is more important than ever, after years of endless propaganda pushing low IQ woke ideology, that the American people have woken up. They've gotten wise to the scam. And each of us owe President Donald J. Trump a tremendous debt of gratitude for shepherding us through this civilizational battle. Because despite facing constant media attacks, political prosecution, and even bullets, President Trump relented and emerged more focused and stronger than ever on his one goal of indisputable victory. And it was President Trump's example that gave us hope and strength to keep us fighting throughout our struggles, as we struggled against the Marxist agenda in our day-to-day lives. Together, decent, God-fearing, forgotten men and women, and our champion, President Donald J. Trump, broke the entire corrupt system that seemingly had our culture and our nation in a death grip just a few years ago. And we must remember those voices on the right who stated that Donald Trump could not have won this election. They argued baselessly that the charges levied against Trump, the media-fueled animus, and the growing polarization of our country meant that we should run away from the fight and elect a so-called traditional Republican who was less controversial, had less mean tweets, and would spew the traditional GOP pablum about nonsense. Exactly. Boy, were they wrong. These voices on the right were not just wrong, they were spectacularly wrong. President Trump went beyond being the most electable candidate in generations for the Republican Party. He shattered barriers that few dreamed surmountable. He won every single battleground state. He won the popular vote. He received more Latino votes than any Republican in history. He won more black votes than any Republican in 48 years. He even dominated the Muslim vote in a place like Dearborn, Michigan. And through his incredible podcast Blitz, spearheaded by a friend of the club and a member of our board of advisors, Alex Brusiewicz, more than half of all men under 30 voted for Trump in an previously unfathomable rate. This organization was instrumental in leading the charge to grow President Trump's coalition. In fact, the idea of a Trump rally in the South Bronx was forged right here, in this very room, 1 year ago today at our 111th annual Gala. I think it was right over here. That historic rally, which many people thought would be impossible to pull off, brought out almost 20,000 people from one of the bluest areas in one of the bluest cities in the entire country to hear President Trump speak. No other president has been able to successfully visit the South Bronx to such acclaim and fanfare. Bush couldn't do it, Reagan couldn't do it, Carter couldn't do it, but President Trump did it, and he did it bigly. With the help of our friends at the Bodega Association and the National Supermarket Association, our club distributed nearly 15,000 pieces of bilingual flyers promoting the South Bronx rally across the entire Bronx. We also ran ads promoting this rally across electronic billboards. And despite all the torrential rain, the condemnations, the pathetic left-wing protests, that rally went off without a hitch. You see, I'm losing the voice. Our volunteers even managed to register hundreds of new Republican voters in the Bronx, building on our citywide efforts to grow the Republican Party through voter registration drives. But even before the Bronx rally, this club worked to bring President Trump uptown, to Harlem, to the Bodega where Jose Alba worked. Jose Alba, as you may remember, was a man who the corrupt slimebag district attorney, Alvin Bragg, targeted and prosecuted for defending himself against a violent thug. President Trump visited that bodega to discuss the rampant crime wave impacting our city. And he was received by massive crowds in Harlem, cheering him, hanging from their fire escapes to see him, and pouring onto the streets to wave at him. No Republican could have received a welcome like that in Harlem, only President Trump. And to that end, I want to thank our Hispanic Caucus Chairman, Argelio Rodriguez, and our Black Caucus Chairman, Adam Solis, who were instrumental in organizing both of those stops. In addition, I want to thank club member and minority leader of the City Council, Joseph Borelli, for pushing through the city's bureaucracy to secure the permits needed for the Trump rally at Crotona Park. But beyond the urban vote and the minority vote, President Trump has also won one of the highest percentages of union households of any Republican in a generation, solidifying the Republican Party's shift towards being the party of the working man and the working woman. And to that end, I am thankful and happy our good friends at the Steamfitters Union came out with their bold endorsement of President Donald J. Trump, making it one of the first, if not the only, trade union endorsements of President Trump this cycle. And this club was proud to have launched our labor caucus in conjunction with the Steamfitters and worked to secure that endorsement. And I want to give a shout out to their business manager, Bobby Bartels Jr., who worked at the Wallman ice skating rink as a young man. Thank you, Brian. And President Brian Kearney, who are both here in the audience tonight. The Republican Party under President Trump is now the party of the American worker. Now, for all the efforts that we engaged in as a club, they were certainly not in vain. In fact, some of the largest shifts towards President Trump happened right here in New York City. Every borough of this city shifted by double digits towards President Trump. The Bronx shifted almost 22 points to the right, one of the most significant shifts of any single county in the entire country. In Queens, President Trump's home borough and my home borough, it also shifted 22 points to the right. And even here, give it up for Queens. And even here, oh, you degenerates. And even here in Manhattan, the borough shifted almost 11 points to the right. And because of these monumental gains in New York City, President Trump had the highest percentage of any Republican in the Empire State in over 36 years. So it was fitting that one of the last rallies of President Trump's campaign took place not too far from here, in the beating heart of New York City at Madison Square Garden. And I want to personally thank the over 200 volunteers of this club who worked tirelessly to ensure the success of that amazing event. Thank you all. Now, every Republican who's wanted to moderate himself, to echo politically correct platitudes in a dumb attempt to pander or waffle on key principles to gain votes has been permanently disgraced and discredited. Those of us on the populist right, we have been vindicated. We have said for nearly a decade we must emulate President Trump. We must project strength and confidence, and we must never back down for a fight. And we must double down on our values boldly and without reservation. This is the blueprint for Republican success. It is the strain of republicanism forged by President Trump and refined right here at the New York Young Republican Club. And now there is only one path forward for Republican success, and it is through Trumpism. And the momentum behind our movement must not be squandered. Republican representatives and senators in Washington, D.C., you must know that you will not just be primaried if you refuse to hold up President Trump's democratically mandated agenda. They will be scorned. They will be humiliated. They will be permanently disgraced in the eyes of their own constituents. And they must wear the scarlet letter for the rest of their days for their transgressions against the MAGA movement and President Donald J. Trump. And listen, this is not just hot air from aggrieved grassroots Republicans. This is who have frankly been very loud but mostly ineffectual noise since the rise of the Tea Party movement. A new day has dawned in America. Because now we have Elon Musk on our side, who represents the equivalent of 7 George Soroses working on behalf of the populist MAGA right. Elon Musk has modernized the infrastructure behind the Republican Party. We are no longer running 20th century campaigns dictated by greed of crony consultants and the laziness of paycheck-driven operatives. We are on the cutting edge, running ballot harvesting operations that are on par with the Democrats. With Elon behind us, Republican senators should be terrified to go against any one of President Trump's excellent nominees. Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Kash Patel, Petey Hegseth, all of them must be and will be confirmed. And Monica Crowley, of course, we cannot forget. Any rhino senator who fails to deliver on this should know that they will be electorally devastated in 2026 and beyond. And I was beyond proud of the work of this club's campaign committee, which helped make over 100,000 phone calls targeting swing state voters this cycle. The club was the second largest phone banking team for President Trump in the country. And this club also spearheaded and led a 100-person deployment to Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where we made over 10,000 voter contacts 1 week before Election Day. For these efforts, I want to thank our campaign's chairman, Mario Nicoletto, for the fantastic work of spearheading these initiatives. My voice is gone. I also want to recognize our Law Committee Chairman, Phil Leggio, who oversaw dozens of young lawyers who volunteered their time to monitor polling places during both early voting and Election Day to ensure fair and transparent elections. So in conclusion, before I have a stroke, the state of this 1,600-person club is very strong, and this 113-year institution has never been more robust. We have the highest membership number in decades, thanks to the great work of membership chairwoman Kari Newman and recruitment chairwoman Gianna Prignano. And this gala is a testament to our club's success. To that end, I must give a special thanks to my entire executive committee and board of governors, but specifically to our gala chairman, Brent Morden, who has worked hard to put on and make this event the success that it is. I would also like to recognize 3 members of the Board of Governors who will depart from this club's leadership at the conclusion of their term. Firstly, our Executive Secretary, Vish Burra, my longtime friend and colleague, who helped take this club from where it was in the pits 5 years ago and turned it into the organization it is today. I also want to thank our corresponding secretary, Alana Marcus, who has served this club, thank you, Alana, who has served this club with distinction for 5 years, and her amazing boyfriend, Jude Sumfun, our philanthropy chairman. You have all been instrumental parts of this organization and will be missed. Now the future of MAGA is being forged in this very room before our very eyes. All the strife and heartache we experienced over the past 4 years was more than worth it. The MAGA movement now has total dominance over the Republican Party. We have proven the doubters wrong. They stand on the wrong side of history, nullified, broken, and irrelevant. And we stand on the right side of history, battle-tested, valiant, and ready to dominate. And over the next 4 years, we will make our enemies afraid again. We will seek and gain our retribution by making this country prosperous, safe, and strong again. And we will make America greater than it ever has been before for all the future generations of Americans. So thank you all. God bless you, and God bless my vocal cords. I appreciate it.